The Linguasphere Observatory is a transnational linguistic research network. It was created in Quebec in 1983 and was subsequently established and registered in Normandy as a non-profit association under the honorary presidency of the late Léopold Sédar Senghor, a French-language poet and the first president of Senegal. Its founding director is David Dalby, a former director of the International African Institute and emeritus reader in the University of London, and its first research secretary was Philippe Blanchet, a Provençal-language poet currently serving as Professor of Sociolinguistics at the University of Rennes. Since 2010, the deputy director and webmaster of the Observatoire has been Pierrick le Feuvre, with the chairman of its research council being Roland Breton, emeritus professor at the University of Paris VIII. The Observatoire's research hub is currently based in the European Union in Carmarthenshire, Wales and in Paris. Its title in Welsh is Wilfyrau Ddywed, literally the Observatory Languages, and its publishing associate is the GWASGYBYDEI, Linguasphere Press, or literally Press the World Language. The Observatoire has developed an innovative scheme of philological classification, coding all living and recorded languages within a global referential framework or linguascale. This linguascale framework uses a decimal structure to record both genetic and geographic categories of relationship. In 1999-2000, the Observatoire published David Dalby's two-volume Linguasphere Register of the World's Languages and Speech Communities. Reviews were published by Edward J. Vajda in Language and by Anthony P. Grant in Journal of the Royal Anthropological Society. The Observatoire has now prepared a revised edition of the Linguasphere Register from 2010, the first of a projected series of regular updates at 10-year intervals. The current edition, comprising substantial materials from the Foundation edition of 2000, is published online from 2011 as a freely available public resource and an online database, compiled and coordinated by David Dalby and Pierrick le Feuvre. Provision is made for the online gathering of additional and improved data, and for the open discussion of proposals and criticisms. From 2001 until December 2005, the Linguasphere Observatory was actively involved in collaboration with the British Standards Institution BSI Group and with ISO TC 37 inches the design and development of a four-letter code covering potentially every recorded language variety in the world. The Observatoire was not, however, associated with or responsible for the final ISO 639-6 standard, which was a partial result of this collaboration, and which was approved and published by ISO in 2009. It is the policy of the Observatoire that its ongoing independent work on language coding should be complementary to and supportive of the ISO 639 international standards. The Linguasphere Register and Linguascale Referential Framework. The Linguascale Framework is a referential system covering all languages, as published in the Linguasphere Register in 2000 and subsequently refined in 2010. It comprises a flexible coding formula which seeks to situate each language and dialect within the totality of the world's living and recorded languages, having regard to ongoing linguistic research. The first part of this linguascale is the decimal classification referred to above, consisting of a linguasphere key of two numerals denoting the relevant phylozone or geozone, from 00 to 99. This provides a systematic numerical key for the initial classification of any of the world's languages, following the principles set out in the Linguasphere Register. The first numeral of the key represents one of the 10 referential sectors into which the world's languages are initially divided. The sector can either be a phylosector, in which the constituent languages are considered to be in a diachronic relationship one with another, or a geosector, in which languages are grouped geographically rather than historically. The second numeral is used to represent the 10 zones into which each geosector is divided for referential purposes. The component zones, like the sectors, are described as either phylozones or geozones, based on the nature of the relationship among the constituent languages, either historical or geographical. The second part of the linguiscale consists of 3 capital letters, from AAA to ZZZ. Each zone is divided into one or more sets, with each set being represented by the first majuscule of this 3-letter component. Each set is divided into one or more chains, and each chain is into one or more nets. The division of the languages of a zone into sets, chains and nets is based on relative degrees of linguistic proximity, as measured in principle by approximate proportions of shared basic vocabulary. Geozones are on average divided into more sets than phylozones because relationships among languages within the latter are by definition more obvious and much closer. The third and final part of the linguiscale consists of up to 3 lowercase letters, used to identify a language or dialect with precision, from A to ZZZ. The first letter of the sequence represents an outer unit. The inner units and language varieties that may comprise any outer language are coded using a second, and wherever necessary a third minuscule letter. Examples: the application of the linguiscale may be illustrated with the concrete examples below, chosen from within the English language. For example, the code covering all forms of English is 52ABA, where 5 equals represents the Indo-European phylosector, 52 equals represents the Germanic phylozone, 52A represents the Norse plus Frisk set, 52AB represents the English plus Anglo-Creole chain, and 52ABA is the English net. Within this net, the outer units are 52ABA Scots plus Northumbrian, 52ABAB Anglo-English, 52ABAC Global English. Some more specific examples of English varieties are: 52ABAB is the Geordie traditional variety, belonging to 52ABA Scots plus Northumbrian outer language, and 52ABAB Northumbrian. 52ABABCO is the Norfolk traditional variety, belonging to 52ABAB Anglo-English outer unit, and specifically to 52ABABC Southern traditional English. 52ABACOF covers the range of Nigerian English, belonging to 52ABAC Global English outer unit, and 52ABACO West African English. Nigerian English is thus distinguished from the often overlapping 52ABBBFENPI, belonging to 52ABB Anglo-Creole Net, and 52ABBB West Coast. Languages of London. A practical application of the Linguasphere Register and its linguiscale in the study of a complex urban linguistic environment has been as the referential framework for successive surveys of over 200 languages other than English spoken by plurilingual children at state schools in London, as edited in 2000 by Baker and Amp, Eversley and Amp, in 2010 by Eversley et al. See also language code with tabulated example of coding systems, including ISO 639 and Linguasphere. Langues de la Liberté, Languages of Liberty, in Paris. From 1987, the Observatoire Linguistique created a bilingual exhibition Langues de la Liberté, Languages of Liberty, tracing the transnational development of certain basic concepts of personal freedom through the interaction of English and French, rather than by the action of any one nation. At the outset of a series of 34 illustrated triptychs, attention was drawn to the historical role of other transnational languages in the development of such concepts, including Greek and German. The exhibition was sponsored by the government of a bilingual nation, Canada, by the International Francophone Agence and AMP, by the region of Haute-Normandy. It was inaugurated in Paris at the Centre Georges Pompidou on 6 June 1989, and AMP presented throughout the summer of 1989 as the official Canadian contribution to the bicentenary celebrations of the French Revolution. At the subsequent presentation of this bilingual exhibition at the Hôtel de Région in Rouen, from the 23rd of September to the 21st of October 1989, the Observatoire Linguistique organized the first public display of the only surviving contemporary copy of the vernacular text of England's Magna Carta, written in 13th-century French. Thanks to continued support from Canada, the exhibition was subsequently presented by the Observatoire in Belgium and AMP, England, at the Palais des Congrès in Liège and AMP, at the Commonwealth Institute in London in 1990, and finally in Australia at Old Parliament House, Canberra in May 1991. In the context of the need to design a plurilingual framework of ethics for a future planetary society, the Observatoire has announced its intention to return to the transnational theme of the Magna Carta in 2015, on the occasion of the 8th centenary of the signing of its formal Latin version at Runnymede in 1215. In the galaxy of languages, each person's voice is a star. The motto of the Observatoire Linguistique dates from 1990, in French. Dans la galaxie des langues, la voix de chaque personne est une étoile. The Observatoire adopted these words as its guiding philosophy on the occasion of the first series of debates organized by the Observatoire Linguistique in 1990-1991, at Fleury-sur-Andelle in Haute-Normandy, at Malines in Provence and at Huy in Wallonie, sponsored by each of the relevant regions, on the subject of nos langues et l'unité de l'Europe. The guest of honor at the first of these debates was André Martinet, Doyen of Transatlantic Linguistics. For the year 2000, UNESCO adopted and adapted the Observatoire's motto in the form, in the galaxy of languages, each word is a star.